Sport tourism is growing worldwide and is acquiring an important dimension, both economically and territorially, even in Italy. These events have the ability to narrate and propose the qualities of a specific territory in an effective way, even through the choice of the places where the event is carried out. In Italy, over the last 20 years, sport tourism has become a big show, and has changed its connotation because it is a real resource for marketing for operators in the tourism and sports sector. It represents a new opportunity for local development, which can complete the offer to tourists of a territory and consequently attract investment, wealth, employment. We can easily say that sport-related tourism brings about the driving element of both the experience of sports and of the cultural aspect connected to it, combining them with the travel and the reception concept. As for marathons in particular, the reason for this incredible concentration of a population from every part of the planet, which gathers every time that there is an international event, are due to the desire to travel and learn about places that have been studied in school books or have only been seen in specialized magazines. There is no nation or capital city in the world that doesn't have a beautiful marathon able to attract thousands of tourists, including athletes, and their relatives during the period of the event. The culture of sport has developed in parallel with that of tourism during the last 20 years, both being two elements which, more than others, unite the need of leisure time. The growing link between sport and tourism comes from many factors, including the growth in popularity of national and international sporting events, the widespread awareness of the benefits deriving from the practice of sport, the recognition by government and local administration of the importance of sport from an economic point of view. What used to be defined as the marginal element of tourism economy currently represents a segment that is growing rapidly with a very strong and constant implicit trend worldwide. The tendency to a strong development of sport tourism comes mainly from the bond between the tourist in the most classical meaning and that of the advances practice. Those that separate and valorize the idea of sporting activity from that of the place where it is practiced. Compared to more classical and consolidated tourism, sport guarantees an increase in the demand, increasing the employment rate even during those most critical seasons, while the tourist offer, in particular the hotel one, can stimulate the flow of people linked with the world of sport. The major factor is represented above all by a large event that generally matures in an urban center of high status with international importance. Over the last 20 years, 74% of the multi-annual international sports events in Europe have been the prerogative of only 12 cities: London, Manchester, Paris, Munich, Berlin, Barcelona, Seville, Valencia, Rome, Turin, Athens and Vienna. These are the capitals of European sport, where there is the contextual presence of an organization tradition, a reception system, and an infrastructural framework capable of producing and managing long, demanding events that attract tourists with a good spending capacity. We can define sport tourism as an activity that is inevitably linked to reaching a destination to assist or practice a certain event necessarily linked to sport. It is possible to identify three different forms of sport tourism. leisure sport tourism. It is practiced by all who love sports and participate in local and national competition. Entertainment sport tourism. It includes those who travel to attend a specific sporting event, both at national level like an Italian second division soccer match or a worldwide event like the New York Marathon. Business sport tourism. This category includes managers of associations and sport promotion that travel around the world to attend events, congresses and sport fairs. The impact of sports tourism compared to the total Italian travelers, holiday and business, corresponds to approximately to 11% of overnight stays. However, this new reality allows us to be optimistic about the sector's future, and it presents a holiday destination or a place to play sports. Despite the economic crisis, journeys are undertaken to practice sports disciplines actively, and this has clearly increased over the last 5 years compared to those made to assist at cultural events. We tend to believe that the sports-related tourism is linked most of all to football, but this is not true. Cycling, marathons and trekking move more tourists than football, basketball and volleyball, and it's necessary to underline that they are seasonal events because most of these events are held from April to June. The destination of 78 of sport trips are locations in Italy, up by 73%, 22% abroad. Among those traveling in Italy, those with a northeast destination, about 30%, prevail. The preferred destination is the Mediterranean area, that can count on 12% of the total sports trip organized by Italians. That of mediator is a new profession in the society. It doesn't exist a description of his her role and his her competencies, but the definitions are manifold. The mediator is an intermediary that contributes to attainment of an accord among two or more parts. According to Max Tarozzi, mediation is a deliberate action that allows to create or to make evident links that apparently subsist among two distant subjects. It is a prism that turns rays or invisible lights into the 7 colors of the rainbow. The mediator, therefore, is a professional that facilitates communication between foreign individuals and society or reception. It is a social operator that, through the correct words and the correct information, tries to demolish the cultural barriers among two or more people for getting the best result. How is this profession born? The motivation for which this new professional figure appears resides in history. The world is changing and everything seems to be closer. The demolition of the European confinement, the continuous improvement of means of transport, the possibility of a faster communication, the adoption of a unique currency in Europe, and the creation of a unique market are only some examples of the inevitability of this future. For the international marathon, the presence of a linguistic mediator is very important because they don't know the language of the nation where the event takes place, but also because the runner wants to learn about not only the beauty of the place, but also the custom and tradition of its inhabitants. Such a professional figure becomes really essential because she knows the needs which can be required by an athlete who tests himself or herself in a competitive race. he or she is ready to satisfy every necessity that can arise from the stay in a foreign country of which he or she doesn't know the language or culture.